I can't remember if I've showed y'all G-Roy before. You've probably seen it in Blender. There's a test scene. These artifacts here that you see from this, I'm probably was using ray tracing. I worked out how to use it properly, but this probably was not one of those. This is G-Roy. You've probably seen it in Blender when I was building it. That's my brand for all of the custom design stuff that I'm going to do. And because I'm chaos and I forged this by hand, bro. Like literally. Okay, so it's got a little bubble here, and it's not really that important, but I was going to point it out if you wondered why. So you say this thing is driving on an alien planet or whatever, and you didn't want to maintenance the wheels all the time, and they would build something that was more high tech, so they built this little bearing in here that the fluid, this goes through the fluid and keeps this thing greased up, basically. Okay, it's a game, bro, but I was trying to give it a little bit of realism of why that's even there. Also made rims of glass. You'd be surprised of how amazing those look. Oh, yeah. I'll show those another day though, because the current vehicle that they're on is highly hush hush right now. Basically, though, I wanted to build a UTV. I probably said this, but I built it with the 4 seat still in mind. And I've probably talked about my technology of why it doesn't have a steering wheel or gas pedals. It doesn't need one. Basically, you're connected to this seat when you set in it. The AI is your mind reader. It reads your mind and it talks to the system. All right. If you don't want to get too technical about how the details work, the lore in the game is going to explain it much better than I just did, but it's a lot to discuss and talk about. So you can ignore these black sparkles. I know how to get rid of them, but this was a test scene and that was not my concern. But basically, to tell you how this vehicle works before we drive it, is you'll notice there's these solar panels. Now, solar panel is not a very like powerful thing, even a millennium from now. Okay, it's been worked on to be a little bit better, but it's not the most perfect thing. The reason why you would need these is if you did run out of your fuel, because this does have an engine in it, you would run on your power here to kind of limp mode to the fuel station or wherever you needed to go. Hopefully, you made it somewhere. It gives you that extra 200 miles or whatever of range to try to get somewhere, but that's all it can get. It's probably better than a lot of things can get you today. Once you're out, you're out. Like this kind of has a backup system. So that's why there's these solar panels that run right into the engine brake here. Is the engine and brake that's inside this. It's hard to tell with all the speckles. It's also hard to tell because I encased it into something so that you couldn't see the stuff. It's not like the rover where I actually built something in there. This one is just the idea of it. The rims are like crystals sticking out of it because originally, which may still be the case, I don't know. I'm not going to say it isn't, but I was going to have these kinds of crystals that were sticking out in the world that were going to be a cool biome type of area for one of the places you would drive through. And it was kind of like a, I don't know, like staying with the mood of everything. G dash Roy. G Roy. And bro, he's got 8 wheels. All right. And he's ready to book it and cook it. This technically would be your exhaust right here. You can imagine there's not an engine in here. Okay. That's just from the subwoofer kind of cone thing because this is going to actually move up and down. And I didn't want there to be a gap of space when it moves up and down. But don't worry, I'm not playing the system like I did. You could watch the rover video and skip to like, I don't know, closer to the end where you can hear the sound system inside of the big rover. It's kind of like something like that, but not obviously not as large, but is going to happen here. There's actually speakers under each seat as well, so that's why you would hear your highs up through here, and you would definitely hear your bass coming from the back, with also some highs there as well. It's basic though, bro. I mean, wood plank for your ground just to instead of laying carpet in. This is just wood, you know. Obviously, you would track it with mud and everything, but you do your carpet that way too. Throw down some rubber mats, bro, if you're worried about it. It's an ATV, it's a UTV, so it was going to be used for utilities, and I built the blinkers into the body, so like these do blink. Right now, I did it wrong. I thought you had to build a shader graph to make your lights emit light, but that's not the case. And I will show you that when I show the rover, when I show the stairs lighting up when I'm walking through it. That isn't using a shader graph to do it, and it keeps the color the way you would want it. So these are going to look a little bit orange when I turn them on based on the time of day and everything, and that's just the way it is, bro. That's not the way they're going to stay, but that's the way it is, and that's why, because I used the shader graph, because I was under the impression that even though, I don't know why, but I thought Unity, the mission thing, you couldn't tap into. I just had a weird thought about it, okay? Obviously, I'm glad I was wrong. I'm very glad when I'm wrong because it means easier things a lot of times. So we will drive this thing, all right? It does have audio, and I can't remember if it's screeching or annoying. But the point of me showing you it driving, as you can see, there was a little. This was this is a stump. Okay, it's not a cylinder, bro. It is not a chrome blue cylinder that looks hairy because of the shadow artifact stuff. It's actually a stump. Okay, and it's to show that this tire is going to clip through. These tires are using. Let me prove to you that they're using wheel colliders right here. See that wheel collider, bro? See that wheel collider? All right. I can't remember if I tuned the engine down. I think I might have slowed it down. I'll go ahead and say this stuff on the screen so that you're not just wondering. This was the I think this was the fastest 0 to 60 it got was 1.66. And that's when this thing was running, bro. I mean, this thing was booking. Basically, I'll tell you the trick of this. This is an image, and I made the transparency a little bit lower so that it looked see-through. But it actually is inside a glass casing for the screens as well to add to the realism, so it wasn't just a transparent little image floating. And obviously, these would either be glass or they're an actual like rod that would stick through there. You don't need these kinds of details, bro, but I'm giving them to you, okay? We have like a speed and an RPM here. There will be another large number that is the actual horsepower that it's considering it, but that's not how my vehicles. I'll go ahead and say this, and I'm sorry I'm speaking so long. My vehicles are going to have an engine, optional supercharger, turbocharger, or a twin charge that uses both. So you have your horsepower value, you have your boost value that is actually boosting the horsepower. This is what keeps it realistic and it doesn't work like NOS. It actually boosts your horsepower and continues to. If it's a turbo, it does it the turbo way, and if it's a supercharger, it does it the supercharge way. To the more instant supercharger, turbos needed time to spool up to get that boost. This current rover has a twin charge system, and you will hear it in the audio because I even made the audio resemble what it actually has. But what it doesn't have right now is the system that I'm saying. So you would have that horsepower, whether you had boost or not. That gets converted to the transmission for your torque. That is what's converted down into your actual wheel power on each one. And I'm building a dyno. Well, I've built a dyno. I'm not building one. If I showed that image where there was a strap, that was a concept thing. Basically, it has these platforms that go under each wheel. Okay? They snap right up under it. Then this thing is driving on those and not like traveling through the world. And there's a giant screen in the front. So you do your dyno run and it puts out the numbers for your maximum torque, your maximum horsepower, and then your actual real wheel horsepower. It can even do things like telling you what your quarter mile would be, your eighth mile would be. It could do all of that stuff. That's one of the reasons why that Lamborghini's collision system that I was building for the wheels is important, because the engine thing that I'm talking about I've already designed and it works flawlessly. But what doesn't work is what it puts power to's collision can just pop through things. And there might be a little bit of something on this, but I know it's not that in depth. But we'll try to take this thing for a spin. I just gotta remember the controls. I have two cameras because, like I said, I was only testing this. It kind of just sways around. Because if you do it where you scroll it, like even my scroll wheel's a little bit zoom smooth, your engine will chirp. So it was kind of sounding like it was doing it. Okay. So normally we're setting in here, and that's running because I would have to stop, hit L to reset it. And then as soon as you go, it will start the timer. And then once you hit 60 miles an hour, it will stop your time on the left there. Yeah, I did slow this down. I slowed it down, man, because the suspension on this thing got crazy. That's why this engine sounds a little bit different too. Used to, you had to hold the key down. I have a video where I'll show how it worked the other way. So these were testing my suspension. Now this suspension here on these arms is actually so freaking hard to use this camera. The worst thing to test with, but it was smooth so that the audio wasn't always yelling. I have to adjust these, but this is actually a bone rig on each of these arms that goes up on this pole, and they're supposed to move up and down. So like you'll see the bottom moving. This is actually rotating in the top. Right now the tops need to be adjusted a little bit more. But overall, what the suspension has created is you'll notice when it's going slower how bumpy the ride may look. Yeah, that's definitely running so much different, man. Not as cool as it used to be. But that's okay. There's also my rear steering, my four-wheel steering, and then even like your crawl steering. Anyway, this right now, this engine is failing me because I'm having to throw it in neutral to get it going. And if I find the clip where this thing was driving when it could run 1,000 mile an hour, not even, it could run even faster than that. It was super fast. Anyway, what I meant to even show, the reason why we came here was to show those colliders. Now, you probably already know what happens with wheel colliders when they get over something like this. You will see that cylinder is poking through right there. Now your laser has hit it, and now your laser has nothing to hit but the ground. This is why they fail. If there was more lasers, you would have better collision detection. But there's another thing you got to keep in mind, and that's your suspension doesn't care about that. So if your suspension is too like strong pushing down, it will push this tire through that instead of picking it up. Anyway, bro, this thing, G-Roy, is going to be one of the vehicles that parks on the rover and you drive it around, drive your characters around when they're getting steer crazy and they want to go for a little joyride. It may have other purposes, but that's one of them. When you walk up to the vehicle, if I haven't shown this or said this, I'll just do it again. It's supposed to rotate. Oh, that's not rotation. It'll open up. You'll climb in. You'll snap into the seat. It'll close down. All cool stuff, I guess. Whatever, bro. It's only cool if it works. The doors know it. That will work just fine. The driving part with the thing, you know, um, the only reason I turned the engine down was so it would drive slower across that. But apparently, I killed that engine. If you would have listened, if I have the other video, you might be able to hear the supercharger whine up, and you can hear, obviously, the turbos. But the goal was also to make them climb this. It could climb this just fine. The only problem was that collision thing that was failing me. You also, if you're going to use wheel colliders, you got to make sure your mass and your mass of your body is in sync. There's not a magic number I can give you. If you got a heavy body, you're going to want some heavy tires. If you put some heavy tires, this thing will even pull wheelie without even having your rigid body uh, transferring the center of mass to the back to make it do it. Another thing is that you might run into is when you lower your center of mass, you'll see that the front of your vehicle is coming down instead of the back. You basically just got to reverse the force that it's doing so it'll do it right. Or you put in one that reverses it and you still use your center of mass on your rigid body so that you can kind of have both. It's a tricky, weird way that it works, but it was something I definitely noticed. Because when I first was hitting the throttle and I knew the suspension had travel, then it was nose diving down every time I hit the gas the way the force was being pushed. And these are wheel colliders, so this tells you exactly how Unity's driving force happens. It's being pushed. All of it's being pushed. Nothing moves without it. If you have nothing pushing it, it's got like it doesn't matter how advanced. You got your pushers low or if you got your pushers coming from here, it's got to push this object forward, pushing the entire body. Basically it, bro. Your traction and stuff is another thing that you factor in, and as realistic as you may get some of your tires to been like and everything, that doesn't really have a lot to do with the traction unless you built a specific high-end system that does. But I've not seen one that has done that accurately. I've seen some get close, and I've seen some trick it very well. I won't name any of them. I've just seen it. Okay, you've seen it too. Didn't know it. But anyway, let's look at the blue whale. Man, the last time I had this open was 7 days ago. It tells you how long I've been working on that other thing. 7 days since I've seen this myself, bro. I don't know if I remember all the keys. I have specific keys right now because when the character is actually in here driving this thing, that function will work differently. So I have specific buttons to make this work. Anyway, the last time you saw this character pretty much probably looked the same. Just wasn't really walking around too well. Now the movement's going to be a little jank too. I can't use my controller because if I do, it's going to steal my microphone because it's a DualSense 5. And I don't want to go in and mute all that right now because I'm just trying to record something quick. Even though it only takes like 3 seconds. I'm being weird and difficult. Last time you saw this thing, it was also a smaller size than you realize it is right now. Right now, before they were about 15.5 in diameter, these tires. Now they're about 22.1 feet. There was a reason for that, and it was so dumb, but I didn't want to recreate this elevator, and we're just going to walk around and see it. If it doesn't, like, crash on me. No, the only thing that's going to happen... Oh, there was a video playing. That's another stupid thing that means nothing, I learned. I mean, it means something. It's the way Unity likes to look at a video. So we have our character here that we can walk around now, thankfully, controlled by the mouse movement. If this was your controller, it'd be your right analog to look around in third person. Quite different than some third persons that when you move these around, you spin around in circles. This character can actually walk backwards, though, and can also strafe and everything, so it doesn't do that. And then you click and you click your middle mouse button, which I have programmed to a thing. I don't have his neck piece pulled out. That's why you can see directly down into the suit. Anyway, your first person is pretty much like a first person control thing. Like his whole body bends with it. I tried it a different way first and didn't end up liking it. This just seemed better. Now there's you remember his, if you even remember, I don't know. Bro, they were out. All right, his wings were out before. Now I've implemented fly mode, so he may accidentally activate it. His wings aren't going to come out. He's not supposed to be doing that right now. The reason is for a system that I'm going to show you in the Ascension room in a minute. There's a reason why they're coming out right now, though. If I reach a certain amount of speed when I'm moving and I'm a certain height, like it could even happen going up a ramp like this right now, because of the way my parameters are set. They're set a certain way, not blocking out certain things yet, but technically, this is his walk speed. And then you hit shift and he's got a jog speed. And then you hit shift and he's got a run speed. And then you hit shift and he's got his mythic run speed. This mythic run, he's running at 80 miles an hour. Exactly 80 miles an hour in the real world. But look, bro, does it look like he's running like ultra fast, really? I mean, maybe to you. But the world I'm designing calls for it. So if you're far away and you're trying to get back, you know, you can kind of move around. But you don't have to run that way. Like, you don't always have to run at that speed. The idea was to get that ultra speed. You jump off a cliff. Let me see if I can make him do it. It's very tricky to get done. I might have to run up the ramp to do it, to where he'll glide. Go into, there you go. So he would glide, his wings would come out, and then you could soar through the cliffs and stuff like that. I think it was pretty interesting, alright? This is just a test scene, by the way. It's nothing fancy. Anyway, let's get over here so you can see the size of this thing. Because when I first saw this, I was like, wow, that thing is massive. I don't see it like that now. I know it's big, but it doesn't blow me away like it first did. This is to give you an idea. He's 6 foot tall. So that's how actual large that tire actually is. You know? And you can tell the collision. Right now, it doesn't have any wheel collider or nothing. So he can just walk right through stuff. And that's like one of the big, like, as massive as this thing is, bro, I have to get that collision working right. So I built a cool little freaking electric motor system for these wheels. Similar to G-Roy, actually, I built first, like the suspension part. I was working on building the body of this blue whale. And then once I built G-Roy, I had the idea to create this, but these kind of were created from the idea of what I had built on G-Roy. With now these shocks actually moved up and down. You've probably seen it if you saw the video with me actually driving this thing. They even have like hydraulics or whatever. So if you're stuck like this thing, and just imagine standing under this thing when it's doing its hop, because it wouldn't technically hit you. Like, I don't think it would come down that far. I wouldn't want to stand under it though, bro. You also notice the generators I turned into something a little bit different as well. And the reflection changed on it because I don't have the priority set high enough for that. That's something that's it's not a bug, it's a setting that I have right now because this is all test stuff. Anyway, I think I'm going to have fluid actually fill these when they're rotating so that it's feeding the fluid to the systems of stuff. Let's get a look at this thing from the front. We run over here really quick. You see those drones up there, right? Those are your headlights. So when you're driving this around and you turn your headlights on, right now they're in a test mode of ensuring that they can take off and land back on their platform without messing up. So they lift up, they rotate, and then they would fly. And while you drive your rover around, when it goes sideways and stuff, they're not going to lean sideways because they're just going to follow the rover. They're their own objects. And if you had them as children of the rover, obviously they would go sideways when the rover did. But I didn't want to build some ugly ass headlights on it, so I thought, well, I'll build some drones that fly out and they cast light out in front of this massive rover. Because this is about 260 or 70 foot long. I don't know if you can tell this or not. The field of view is hard to really tell. I also originally had this glass where you could see through to the inside, but I thought it might look a little bit cooler keeping it stealthy and only having it one way. So we'll go into the inside carefully because I don't want to fly the. When we go up here, my head used to hit the roof here and like clip out through the glass. It still kind of can. I was going to have to redesign the freaking whole top floor, and I was like, do I want to do that? Okay. Whatever, bro. I was trying to think, do I want to do that or do I want to leave it like it is? And I decided to just make it a little bit larger because before it was like, why didn't I think that out? Why did I do it like that? Well, I did it like this because obviously I built the elevator on that wall. But what I should have done was extend that beam out this way a little bit more. And what sucked is I already cut out the hole in the floor for that to go up through right there. So man, listen, I don't know if I'm going to ever redesign it a different way. It works. You get up here. It doesn't freaking get you stuck anywhere. This is your material analyzer chamber. Don't ask me what it does, bro, because it does nothing right now. But obviously, it would be analyzing some materials. Maybe spinning some fans. Oh, yeah, this doesn't have collision right now. Maybe spinning these cool fake fans on this cool fake radiator to make it look like it's doing something. Yeah. You would have a screen right here you'd interact with, and there's one on the end. It's probably white right now, but that's a screen. All of these look see-through, transparent monitors, but they actually have screens on them. Those are the drinks that I've created for the bar, which you'll see behind this door if it opens. It opened. I don't think I could walk around and show you this before, so I think I'm doing this for the first time for y'all. These are my take on cornhole boards, or whatever you call them. These are actually called core casters because you're going to be casting a core or something instead of a sack. I don't know. The end of the day, you throw a sack around. Um, did I show these? I feel like I said that before. Probably said that before. It was probably talking about something else. Anyway, bro, this is your respawn box right here. See them flip? Now it's a little bit slow on what they're doing, but they're just like in a test mode. They fly. They got their little LEDs that change. What they currently don't have is the headlight actually attached shining out, but you know, that will come. If you saw the light that was on that Lamborghini shining down, that was always following the car. They basically are going to have a light shining forward and down like that. I even thought maybe because the character has like two little lights there on this suit or whatever, and technically it kind of glows in the dark. I don't have the scene very dark right now, but his little blue LEDs light up, and he kind of has a flashlight. But I thought it would be cool to like tell one of these to follow you, if you're out somewhere if you need it, or like if you needed to follow one of your other vehicles around. The way it works right now is it would follow just like they would be headlights, and once their battery gets below a certain threshold, they're going to return back and land. And I did it where I did it where they don't fall out of the air if they do run completely out before they make it back, because I was like, then the player's gonna have to run over, pick this thing up, somehow have a way to get up here on the roof, put it back onto its charging platform, which would be a cool thing, I guess. Who knows, bro? But that's not currently how it works. All right, currently they come back even if they run out of battery to recharge, and they don't leave until they've gotten their full battery. Obviously, I would think if you have them following you, it's going to cancel the follow function so that they return. And if you wanted it to come back, you're going to have to come and get it. It's not going to just automatically go back and reactivate its follow. I could do it, but I don't know. I don't think that's the way I want the system to work currently. And I don't even have it worked out like that yet. But that's the idea of why these drones, I mean, these actually are larger than a SUV in real life. Those things are a lot larger than they probably look here, but they're definitely very very big and durable. If you perish, like if I make that a thing, which obviously I guess I might, since this is going to be a survival game, believe it or not. Can you believe it? Um, this is your reconstruction chamber. I wanted it to make sense, so once you know more of the lore of the game, this actually ties right in to make sense in a way. So your essence remains is what it said on the bottom there. You would spawn back here and go back at it, you know. You have a cool bar here. These chairs, you can't set in them yet, but I probably will make that. That will probably be a thing. Maybe. Most likely. We'll see. Maybe not. It probably will. But who knows? You can stand back here and pretend to be a bartender. Okay. Like you probably do in your real job. Um, I'm just kidding. Here, in my game world, I've created days of the week that work off of C stuff instead of the gods of like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, like we did for those days of the week. And in the game world, with the blue well being the main thing, the names of certain things are going to be more ocean themed, just to be different, man, to be fun and cool, and maybe you'll learn something. Most likely not, but I left. I wanted to leave a resemblance of our current Earth Day stuff, so I made a word out of each one the best I could. We got like money to burn, we dance, thirsty, friction, saturate, sundown. Think about it. You might know. That makes a little bit of sense in a way. I think, at least at the time, it kind of was supposed to. Anyway, bro, you will have like four other character people that run around with you. You don't have to do online stuff because right now I'm building single player only. No sense in building multiplayer when you don't even have your game built. But I guess you could see that this looks like you could enjoy it with friends, but that's not the point of this game right now. And I don't want to ever say that that's what it's going to be. Um, but I guess you would sit here with your AI buddy and you would chunk your core towards that direction. What's a little bit different about these is there's a little bit of a lift. Most cornhole boards touch the ground, and these have a little bit of a height. I would imagine it would change the game a little bit, you know, maybe make it a little bit more different, challenging, maybe not. Um, I didn't build these in real life, so I don't know. But it in the game world here, it was also to resemble something that kind of still around, still a thing. It's just called Corecaster to keep a futuristic kind of vibe going with it, you know. I tried, bro. I'm not a professional. Also, just so everyone is clear. Oh yeah, I made this up too. It's deja vu, a moment remembered by the soul before the eyes ever saw it. And I was very torn on saw and seen there, but it ended up saw. So you can hate me for it. It's not rocket science. All right? It's rover science. And that is the takeaway from today on what this is. Okay? It isn't a rocket, so it may have a shape of it. I didn't want to build the typical sci-fi spaceship with all the white walls and things that you're used to seeing. I wanted to build something that seemed like it could exist, and you would know in the lore of the game why this exists and why it looks the way it does. Now, before I said no water, okay? Remember that? Remember when I said there was not going to be any water in my game? Also, did I hit record, bro? Imagine if I just did all that and I was. Okay, I said there was not going to be any water. That was an accident. All right, there actually is a bit of water because I built this cool little aquarium area. No fish in it yet. It's just a little kind of idea. There's actually a cylinder here, so that fish I was intending we're going to be swimming above this. Here's the thing though. I don't know what to put in it. I mean, I know what I want to put in it, but I don't know what's going to make sense to put in it. Look at I actually haven't looked at this in a while. Oh my gosh. I actually think this is pretty cool. Anyway, the ring changes colors here when I step in it. My stairs do the same thing. You don't hardly notice it unless you're in third person though. It's kind of like a little thing, and you can ignore his little leg that kicks out when he walks. Once you notice it, you never not notice it. See how his right leg just goes boink, boink. Bro, I don't know. I don't know why his rig does that. I tried the weight paints again and again and again, and that's just what he does, bro. Don't look at it too hard. If that's going to bother you, then you probably don't want to play this game ever. Anyway, you'll notice that these stairs change colors when you step on it. They kind of have the same thing as this thing does. I think. Do they change? Yeah, they change. They change through the colors. So if you wanted an idea, a visual, clear representation of what the colors do when you're standing in it, is they're phasing through the different colors. It's going through the color wheel of things, bro. That's what it's doing. Just to add a little coolness to it. That's actually supposed to be a screen. Otherwise, it was glass that you could see out through. But I think there's going to be my mouse. There's going to be something on it. I don't know what yet. I don't know if it'll be a little like silent video or a looping thing. But I wanted to make something that made sense. And as far as the decorations of this aquarium go, okay, I know it looks a bit jank right now and very not well put together. But bro, that was just I had ideas for stuff and threw it all together. There's actually a secret meaning behind the skulls, the ship wheel, and the anchor there. For something far distant from today. But you will probably see something like that again from me. And it will make sense. And it's just kind of here because, I don't want to spoil a lot of things. But basically, bro, I don't think you're going to pay attention to these things that are here when you see like fish and stuff in here or something. I mean, cuz here's what I had to come up with. If you remember what the sound system sounded like on the rover, if you saw the previous video, it was super loud and you don't vibrate the fish tank, okay? And so I built this glass and I made up this god name uh golly, what was her name? I'd have to look at my notes. But anyway, this glass is Silent Sarah, and there is a god that is like that. Its name, a female of something. And so it's like godlike silence is what it is. And when this door is closed in here, I'm going to have where if you got your radio booming, when you come in here, you won't hear it so that you understand. Technically, I wouldn't have to do that because I could say that it was inside the actual water. I can't walk into, luckily, I guess. Hey, good. I wasn't sure if I did. No, you could probably get in there. There's not going to be a reason to. I was going to build, so I built this where this says aquatic regis or whatever dumb thing I came up with there. Um, it's actually the filtration system and feeder. There's sliders on the front that raise up, and the food would be poured into the aquarium to feed whatever's going to be in here. I didn't know if I was going to put alien like fish so that you didn't care if there was bass booming, or if I was going to use kind of more realistic kind of sea creatures. I wasn't sure. I do know it's saltwater aquarium, so it would be saltwater stuff. Because the blue whale, I mean, it needs to be the blue whale. It needs to be like ocean themed. So yeah, I tried to say that I was never going to have water in this game, and then, this just kind of happened for that glass room. Previously, this was not the idea for this room, though. It was going to be a workout room or something, or a lounge room. It was not going to be for an aquarium, but it just kind of happened, man, because I thought it would be a cool thing to see. And I think it's going to be pretty cool, especially once there's something inside that. Like, I don't know which creatures to put yet. I could have like little seahorses going around. I could have little crabs. Technically, put a mermaid in this thing, but that's not really realistic. I literally could put anything, a monster creature or anything. I wanted it to be something cool to look at though, because like my game's going to have downtime that actually makes sense. There's the grind to it part of the survival, but it's also a game to just have fun and experience an alien planet and future technology that is just outside of today. I mean, you've walked around a real life aquarium and you know what this looks like, but you've never seen it on a car, and I doubt you ever will. Okay? That's why this exists. There's no sound effects on the sliding door there or this one. I might put that, I'm not sure. So you'll see here the actual wings if you didn't watch that other video. That will come out when now he hits his glide mode. And these tubes here, they used to have a completely different function, are going to open. You'll get inside it. There's no collision here, so I can stand here. And this was the video I was going to make. I was going to make showing this part off, but now I don't have to make that video right away since I'm working on something else. I can just tell you what it was going to do. So you get in the tube, though, left or right. I don't know if I'm going to make one shoot higher or if I'm going to make this screen change where you can set your setting to how much height. Do you want to go up 1,000 feet? Do you want to go up 200 feet? You set it, you get into the tube. Shoom. If you know that thing at the bank where it sucks that cylinder through the tube, bro, this basically launches you up in the air. All right. And then this glass is going to open on the front of it. It's going to curve around. And you're going to either jump out from that or it's going to lean forward and dump you out from it. And then you will go into that glide pose that I did with your wings out. And you will glide through the air to get an overview of the area that you're around. Just to have another cool way, instead of like zooming out and looking above the map around you, you can actually shoot up and look around in real time and play mode. Because I mean, I want this to be an exploration kind of survival on this futuristic planet and everything. And, I think that would just be kind of a fun experience. You might not like it, but I'm going to enjoy doing it, okay? So here's our shower room. It will have something on this monitor, maybe to control the shower. There might be something here. It's a very weird shadow, that thing. Basically this whole rover system is a closed loop system. You got to remember you're on an alien planet. So all your water and fluids and things like a shower have to be recycled. Now it kind of makes more sense now that we have this water system up here that could technically feed this, but really this was a closed loop system itself. Those purple crystals, since we're keeping the crystal theme, I didn't put my chrome on them pipes. They feed into these. Now these actually would have water inside them working as the filter. So the pipe there, the little one goes down and it goes into these that feed into the floor area here. that run along and they shoot to the 3 water strands that would shoot over and land into these perfectly because I'm a genius, okay? Okay. I was thinking of like Vegas when I've seen the water like that. Anyway, this whole roof would come down like shower, not come down on you. Like not the roof's gonna lower. You can imagine those are holes for the shower head. This would like make it like rain poured down, right? So this whole thing, you can just dance around. No one's gonna disturb you or anything. You know, you can just dance naked in the rain, literally, in the privacy of your own luxurious rover. And you got bathrooms here, so you know the door's gonna raise up, and you're gonna walk in, use the restroom. It's gonna close down. I actually had a sound effect for those, and I guess I haven't put it on yet. The way this system works is not magic though, because I thought about it. Everything that I try to build, I try to keep some realistic realism to it. So you'll notice these copper railings here with these metal pistons on it. At the top there, you'll notice the metal plate that is going to work like a magnet. So when you step here, it triggers a sensor. If this was real life, it would trigger a sensor that would turn the magnet on to pull that metal up to that one. And technically, this probably wouldn't make much of a sound because it's not an electronic thing happening. You're triggering the sensor, and then it's going up and sticking to that. And when you walk away, it lets go of it. The slowness of it is a little bit tricky, but you could say that you expanded those cylinders a little bit wider so they don't just fall through like they have nothing holding it. Obviously, you would think you would see a grease trail of something, you know, inside there, but you don't because it's a game. But still, bro, it's pretty cool. And I don't have to explain any of this, but I like doing it because I built this shit myself. Also, there's a kind of cool little aquarium that might have something up there. Uh, so that when you're in here, when you're in number two, for number two, um, you're sitting here just staring at the wall, trying to draw a face on it. You can just look up and there will be something there. It's hard to tell because there's not water in it, but you can imagine there'd be water in it. Also, the reflection of the sky is not going to be like that. All my reflections are on everything, so that's why it looks like we're reflecting sky right now. Anyway, don't look at it. Also made the floor glass. So if you're up here setting down number two, um, you can look out at the ground. You can kind of see one of the wheels. There's going to be a collision on these where you can't just walk into your neighbor that is in here handling business. Like, hey, boy, you got any toilet paper in here, boy? There's no toilet paper. This thing opens up and it's a, you know, one of those cleaning things. It's got nozzles at the back and it's got nozzles at the front that spray up, getting everything nice and clean, even in a game world, bro. So you never have to worry about toilet paper. That is not a thing that you have to worry about on an alien planet because of that. And if you feel like you didn't get clean enough and you wanted to get cleaner, you can just take a shower because this is a shower room, right? But anyway, let's say you were very tidy and clean and everything was nice and clean. You come over to the sink. This thing is gonna shoot some jets out of water down here so you can wash your hands under it. You know what I didn't do, bro? I didn't put a soap dispenser or something. Fuck! Oh no! Oh shit! I didn't think about, bro. I didn't do that for the shower. Well, that means shit. I'm gonna have to build something for that. That makes sense because actually the water could do it. Okay, and here's why. I'm saying that this water runs down on your dirty ass and goes into these drains and goes back in there and gets filtered out cleaner than it came out. Like like it's this clean self-cleaning system. I could say that the water that comes from this is actually cleaner than normal water and already has the stuff in the water itself. Is a closed loop system. So that makes sense. That also makes sense why you get super clean like taking a shower when those jets are spraying you. Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, bro. And you don't have to believe it, but I just invented it right now for why and how there's not a soap dispensing thing, bro. Okay? That means you can take shower and you're already getting both of the best worlds. And don't worry, it's not going to burn your eyes if you look up at it. Okay, you can this soap can it's like that child-proof one. Did they still do that? It's been a while since I was a child using child-proof whatever eye shampoo. Whatever am I saying? I wanted to keep something from Earth, so I made my hand dryer look like a rusted thing from a stop sign, even though it's not. I wanted it to have a similar look and just um put a cool looking thing here where your hands will come out and this thing will kick on. Maybe the fake fan will do something cool on that fake radiator, and then fake heat will come out and dry your fake hands. I think that is as real as you can get if you want to be fake about it, you know? Also, the ground here for lava was just a cool little texture thing. It wasn't like you're standing on. I thought about putting those hot rocks look here that you walk across, since that right there, it's also a texture. It's not real rocks. It kind of looks like this would be kind of a gravel thing, and you don't see the drain because technically the water is just going to seep through the rocks that has an opening. You can just envision with your imaginary mind. That's how that works, bro. All right. And that is the shower room. Pretty simple for the most part. We have our batteries here. When the rover's out of fuel, that's what it's going to be running on. But it's also what powers all of your systems. So I've already worked out the stuff for how that works and everything, but it's not hooked up right now. I when I put the rover back in here without the driving, I've been focusing all on interior stuff instead of the driving and all that because that's already a thing. Oh yeah. That that might sound like you rolling up your window or down. Or your window down. Or your window back up. The click thing right there at the end, it's supposed to be the sound effect of a lock, like it's sealing and holding it down. I don't like it the way it's currently sounding, but just so you're not questioning what that is doing. Now, the audio is supposed to be 3D, and I'm about to test if it is. Oh, it got moved. That's what happened. It used to come from here. And as it slid back, the audio went that way with it. Yeah, currently that's not happening, and it's probably because I forgot to reactivate that when I uploaded the stuff. But anyway, this is your hydroponic thing that I built. It's where you're going to grow your plants. So those tanks that were down there with the generator that was generating the fluid and stuff feeds water to these. And the water goes through that cylinder, through the tube there, and through each of the trays got a little metal piece on it. You'll notice this is like dirt here. So it's already like got the thing. You just got to put your seeds in it. These will emit that artificial light that they need. There was going to be the three different kinds. There's going to be like red, blue, and something, but I can't remember if I've changed it or not. I currently haven't hooked it up, but I had an idea, and I had a material for it. Without actually looking at it, I couldn't tell you, but it was the idea of that to so that you could grow your stuff. All right, and that is just how you're getting your food. And then up there where the bar was, you'll notice that may not have looked like alcohol like you thought when you seen the labels, because it wasn't. It's all kind of healthy stuff like energy, stealth, not wealth. What did I make? Yeah, we got the Dank Stealth Edition. We got the Energy Edition of some Dank. We got some Drill Tune Magic, whatever that wants to be. You can say it is. And there's a Dank brand and a Brute brand. The Brute was the more heavy duty stuff for your health or your energy or your stealth. I don't know why I named it stealth though, because I'm not gonna lie, right now there's no stealth that you need. Or is there? Huh? Basically, you would have seen there was a thing that you normally would have had right here, and this would take your materials. Oh, that pipe's not solid? It is solid. it needs a double-faced material on it. Basically, though, that tube goes up into your storage, and then you go up on this thing, and you activate your fancy machine here. Um, that is going to be like a CNC type machine, futuristic. It doesn't look like a CNC machine, I know, bro, but that's what I base the concept of what this is supposed to be. It takes a material, turns it into something else, bro, spits it out over here, sends it back into the rover. You don't have to like grab stuff and mess with anything because you're building this for the fuel system and stuff like that. If there's going to be any kind of other crafting, it would, if it comes through this kind of system, there's going to be a way you can collect it. But right now, like, because that's kind of what this tray in here was for. It typically was going to be at the bottom, and this tube was going to fill with liquid. Um, and that was going to come from that tube that was connected to the wall there. And your material or whatever you needed was going to pop out at the bottom here for you to collect. And I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with that system yet because I got to figure out the kind of things that I'm going to have you make that I haven't worked out yet because I'm working out a different driving system that is very important. Because that one vehicle, that G-Roy, he would park like right here, and it's not going to clip with that. Like, I know that thing was a little bit tall, but it fit in here when this Rover was smaller, so it's definitely going to fit in here now. It'll park right here, and there will probably be some things like where it would come up from the floor to charge it or something. Maybe. That's why those wheels had that blue little star at the plate on the inside. You can imagine a little chrome rod that would come up from the ground and attach in there. And basically, when you drive it up here, it's the same as when you get in the seat and lock down so that it doesn't move. So currently, I can move this ramp without setting in the seat. But once this is like game ready, this won't be how this works. You would have to be in the seat to control this ramp. Oh my goodness. I'm laughing because I'm trying to remember my enter key. I think it's just a basic interact key. I hope. Please be. Please. Please. Also, why does this seat look so much smaller than I remember? Oh, I think I remember why. I had to size it down because he looked. Oh, here it is. He looked like. You see how large this seat actually looks when he's sitting in it, man? This seat used to be so much larger. I had to. Now he's gonna need a different pose, most likely. But, bro, just for now, so that his back didn't touch or whatever without clipping through, he's just gonna chill like this for now. Okay? That's his setting pose. Anyway, when you're sitting here in this seat and you're in like your first person, right? You can just hit your inclines to adjust your seat. We're actually moving, you know. If the terrain wasn't so plain, you'd be able to tell this much easier, but got some electric seat in here, bro. It doesn't just move forward and back, it does it all at once, you know. Because technically we're moving up and out, you know. And also you don't like you can go down like this much and just stop and leave it like that. That was a big part of the way I rigged it and everything when I was controlling the animation. I wanted you to be able to like actually be able to adjust it however you wanted. You want a little higher or a little lower. Now the audio is only meant to go for like when it goes full duration or whatever. Otherwise it would not play all the way because it starts the audio over every time instead of picking it up where you left off. So I can hold this down until it like probably eventually ends the clip. It's just not gonna run the entire way. It has an end. But that's the only like bug about it. If you want to be picky about what sucks about it, and it's something that I could make work the other way. Just so you know, and you're not like fooled and be like, bro, his audio is just it doesn't even play to the end, bro. Yeah, okay, all right, you're right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm letting you know right now that it doesn't do it. All right. Ah, his, his ramp's kind of jank. Obviously, you can't stand on this thing and do it. I mean, I'm joking. You can stand on it. But you can't ride it like a ramp like you would think you could. What? You see? You actually would have to make your character walk to the right because it's not friction on this thing doing it. It's moving up, and you could follow it up by walking. But it's not going to carry you up because it's just a collision. This is what I meant by the friction thing that I was talking about with the car earlier. We're still moving? It is still moving. No, I'm moving. I'm swaying. Okay. Anyway, bro, I didn't have to do it, all right, but I did. I did it. I wanted it. When I designed it with this ramp like that, that was what I had in mind. And then when it came to rigging it, I actually had to rotate this down to give myself an easier time. Because it looks like it's going down on one axis and another at the same time, right? Very complex, but that's not what I did. That's how I wanted it to work, but that's not how I did it when I animated it. And this saved me so much time. So what I did was I rotated this down. This object here. Oh gosh, my mouse isn't showing. The bottom ramp. I've probably been pointing out things to y'all with my mouse, thinking you see my mouse. I apologize. This bottom ramp here at this joint chrome piece, I folded it down in Blender so it was level across, and I rotated this the offset of what it was going to be up and down. So technically the seats were facing more towards the ground. And when I moved each plate in, recording the animation, that when I was done with it and I saved it and baked it in, I rotated this rig back up, right? And then it played the animation just like you saw it. Now, I was trying to get the three, since I had to animate each platform, there was like either 3 or 4. I was trying to get it all in one clip. I had it all done and I wanted to record one clip of it so I didn't have to run individual ones. But Blender didn't, it kept fighting me on exporting it that way. And I even tried to script something in there to make it do it. And it came out empty every time. So I was like, well, I will just use these animated clips and I will do what I did on my animator was I built a layer thing, didn't I? Oh, I actually have to click on that. I built a layer system for it. So there's different layers. And you probably don't care to see this, bro, but just in case someone did, we have time to look at it. I do this thing when I have all of these different pieces, and my pieces are not just random pieces. There's nothing that's just here for fun because I didn't group it with everything else. It all had a reason that it had to be separate. It was right here at the top. So each layer has one of those animation clips for each of the platforms. And what the script does is it plays all 4 of these at the same time because that's how it was supposed to be. What I was trying to do with the animation clip was get those 4 recorded into one, and I just failed at doing it. It could be done, but it just wasn't doing it the way I was trying to do it. And I didn't want to spend all day doing it. So I use a Ha! I use a crab. I use a scrub position so that we can scrub the playhead on the animation there, basically. That is basically how that is doing what it's doing. It's not magic, but it was not as easy as I would have liked it to have been. And that's just because the animations didn't go into one track. I just wanted to run this off of one track with the scrubbing playhead. I know it can be done. I think I've even done it before on something. But here's the thing about me, man. When I'm creating stuff, sometimes it just happens. And then I don't always remember exactly what I did. Now, first of all, I want to look at these to see why were they not 3D? They are 3D. But they're not moving? How does this door start? It starts open? I thought it was supposed to be closed like this one is. This door here is going to hold a special vehicle or something, and this platform is going to open, and it will rise up on this platform here, like ta-da. It's a special thing though. You have to buy the DLC. I'm just kidding. I'm not. I'm not doing that. Everything in my game you're gonna have. I mean, everyone's gonna have. I mean, I'm not doing the whole. You gotta buy the super package to get the super package, bro. You want gold guns, bro? You want that gold paint job? You gotta pay $60 extra to get that, or at least 30. We'll charge them 60, and then we'll charge them another 30 for that, boy. Because that's marketing. But listen, I'm designing this and I'm building this, so I will sell it however I want to sell it, and I'm selling mine as is, all in one. That wasn't a dish at y'all people that create all the add-on stuff, bro. Okay. I don't know why I'm not hearing the audio. It should be here. I should be hearing this from my left speaker, not my right. You see this error all of a sudden for the color primaries? I designed a thing that fixes that. This is what I'm saying is stupid that they're still on this system. Because I build my on a Windows computer, modern today stuff, bro. Y'all please fix y'all's video encoder thing. Make a freaking package thing for it or something. Please update that. If anyone that works at Unity looks at this, bro, listen, okay? I would appreciate that if you could get to it. Hear that? That never happened like that before, bro. It does not move that way. I'm pretty sure everyone's going to think I'm crazy. Bro, no. The chance, the chances that y'all heard this wrong is 0. Because there's a specific reason I was. I have a right headphone plug-in and a left headphone plug-in. And if I plug those in wrong, guess what? My audio is backwards. That's why I was like, this does not make any sense. And I didn't hear it like that when I built it. Oh my god, now I can hear it like y'all do. You know what? We might have to just cut that. Nobody heard nothing. They were like, bro, his ears are backwards. The whole time, you were like, bro, it's coming from back here. And I'm like, bro, why do I hear it over here? Oh man, you would turn your headphones around when you were listening to it the way I was, okay? Because my headphones were right. The wires plugged into them were backwards. So dumb. I'm so dumb, man. I mean, this is why my stuff looks like it does, you know? Because I'm not intelligente. I'm dumb as hell. Anyway, I guess that was a bit of some sound for you there, you know? Sound clip. You know what this reminds me of, this one though? If you've seen Jurassic Park and you hear the doors like opening and closing like doo doo. What was that, The Lost World or something? One of them. That right there makes me think of that. It was actually the Jurassic Park one, not the Jurassic World movies. When that ship container door is opening because his hand is like holding the button. That right there just makes me like, listen. I made Jurassic Park, bro. That's what I'm saying. I didn't. Also, I always assumed that the subwoofer was going to be up that high. Technically, though, I lied to y'all because previously, when the rover was much smaller, I mean, I say much smaller, like it was small. It was large before, but the speaker was actually about right here. You could be right there in the middle of it. I talked about you could move your camera around to try to see Death rattle in there, and to try to see the naked women. Them naked women in there, bro. They're holding the rattlesnakes. And I extended the font out where they hold that up. They actually, their hand is underneath the Death Rattle logo, holding it up, and their other hand is holding a snake that's trying to bite her in the face. But she doesn't care, that is her friend. Also, they're just like statues. They're not really uh, they're not really holding snakes. They're not really naked. They're not really people. Oh yeah, the beds are still in there, bro, but we haven't done anything with them yet. And boy, have I thought of a cool idea for them. So like, you're going to hit a button. That's what this screen over here is going to have controls for, as well as setting your temperature inside here that you're gonna want. Um, Maybe even your heated seats, but that would be automatically happening because the system would detect if you were cold or not and either heat or cool your seat if you needed that. But the environment in here, maybe it has some settings for something. You can set basically where you would save your game, kind of, but a little bit different. So you hit the thing and your bed comes out. So now you're in. I don't know if I'm going to fall through where I have collision at. Obviously, there's not one on this wall. That's why I can stand here. But you would sit inside that bed looking up. And what that would do, once you're in here, is I have a trick for this. So just like how you can set in the seat and move with it, you're going to set in a laid down position outside here looking up, and which control makes me go sideways. It's going to make you go up in here. You might hear them say, "All right, night," something like that, whatever, if they do speak. I don't have any speakers here right now. Yeah, speakers for the radio, for the elevator. I have no idea why I said radio. There's no radio in here, bruh. Um, they don't have to be teleported in here though, so that if I teleported them in here to sleep or made them walk down to sleep before you could sleep, that'd be a little bit jank and slow. So I can simulate the realism by just having it sound like they're in there. You can't see inside their pods. You're going to be in your own. So like naturally what I designed this futuristic um omnisynapse bed for, because like that's another technology that I've created for this game lore. Is this, it kind of reminds you of a little bit of a tanning bed or something, right? I would imagine that this would be, well, I did imagine when I built it. The bottom of this is a gel-like material, and the strip around here is a LED kind of lighting for the light. Now this glass that opens up and over, what axis is that on? Z. It was different when I designed it because Blender and this are different. So this closes down on you, and then I was imagining if this was in the real world, you're sleeping in this, and this could create your whole monitor of a screen that you see like a TV. So like you're kind of laying in bed watching TV to fall asleep, or you could set something you wanted to see. Oh, right here, like it was like you were in that 3D world a little bit. Maybe you wanted to stare at a waterfall while you lay there, hear the sounds. It would set temperatures, and when you're sleeping, it would adjust your comfort and everything. If you're more restless, or if you like sleeping a certain temperature, if your feet get cold or your feet get hot, it could warm down here versus like up here and everything. Um, You have to think, as crazy and wild and cool as that sounds, this technology of this game and everything exists 1,000 years at least from today time. So from like right now all the way 1,000 years, this technology is probably not even that cool, but it definitely is cool for today's what we don't have, and it would probably even be cool then. All right, like just saying. You would never see the wall like this though, because there's going to be colliders and things that always keep your camera from ever going inside it. But I know what I built, so I'm not afraid to show anything. Like I know everything that's all up in this thing. And so that's how many passengers are supposed to be on this rover. That's why there was a lower and a top deck. And I wanted it to be I wanted it to snap you to it. So like how I stood by the seat and then hit the button and I snapped seated. You would do it laying down. The reason why I didn't want to do animations and all that is because man, takes too much time. I don't mean it takes a lot of time to animate him climbing up in the bed, hopping up in there. I mean that whole thing that I just said that he did takes too much time. When he could just snap in the seat laying down, it's very fluid for a player. Like we're not building a movie here. We're building a game that people want to experience and have fun with. And when you're in a game world, it's okay if you teleport to your seat and sit down seated. Because that is where your roleplay comes from, of you being seated in that position, and that's what matters. Laying down in the bed setting there is what matters, not how you get there, to me. Like, I don't want every time you go to sleep, you have to do that. No. So, what I thought would be, and this is the other reason why. If I had even that animation, this would be the same. You lay in the bed when it's extended out here, and then it goes slowly in the wall, and you're here for a moment, hearing a thing before it fades out. And then when you wake up in the morning, it extends out, and you get out of it, and then they go back into the wall. If I do all of the other animations and stuff, sleeping would be a long process to do. Now, if you think about real world, that it is a process. You don't go to sleep in 5 minutes, you're up again going, or actually less than 5 minutes, but I don't want this to take 5 minutes for you to have to go to bed and save your game, basically. I think I can have a save game here, or I can have it when you go to sleep, you save your game. Um, it's something that I'm thinking out as I continue building out other things for this entire thing. Also, let's kind of fly around in here and look at the blue whale. You don't actually get to see it because you're always going up the stairs and missing that cool little detail. But it is there. All right, we'll end it here for now. That was the long video of something so you could see something until I get to something else. All right, until next time, adios.